And we are kicking off with Roman Reigns, who for over a year has benefited from a lucrative contract with WWE, which has seen the undisputed Universal Champion appear far less than he once did. Whenever Reigns does appear, it's big news, and this week, WWE announced via an email that the Tribal Chief will return on the October 13th SmackDown from BOK Center in Tulsa, Oklahoma. This isn't the only confirmed Reigns appearance coming up, as it's been reported that he will be defending his title at Crown Jewel on November 4th, with his opponent believed to be AJ Styles. As to whether Reigns and Styles will have a confrontation on the October 13th SmackDown, that remains to be seen, but it'll no doubt be something big for the Tribal Chief to make his return. This week, the wrestling news was rocked with the confirmation that Jade Cargill is signed with WWE mere days after her final match with AEW. Cargill's AEW contract expired earlier this month, and she was removed from AEW's roster, more or less confirming her imminent arrival to Vince McMahon's company. Cargill signing with WWE is a huge get for the promotion, and while appearing on the Masked Man show for her first comments as a WWE superstar, Jade addressed how she feels to be under contract with the company. She said, "It feels great, you know. I feel like I was just in preparation for the grand stage. I felt like this was always the mission. I felt like the shoe fit. I felt like this was gonna happen. Honestly, this is all expected, so I'm excited to be here. I want to create a legacy. I want to be in the Hall of Fame. I want to wrestle the best women in the world. I mean, there's no grander stage than here. Opportunities are endless for this company. It's a no-brainer. I didn't have any second thoughts about it at all." Jade has been signed to a multi-year contract with WWE and has already been spotted heading into the Performance Center to begin her journey, and WWE has shared some photos of her in the PC. Going by the photos, Cargill is having the time of her life now that she's with WWE, and on Twitter, Triple H personally welcomed Jade to WWE, as did several other superstars in the company. It was during the same episode of the Masked Men show that Cargill was asked about her relationship with Cody Rhodes, and said that the former TNT champion was one of the top reasons she signed with WWE. There's still a lot of questions about Cargill's future, but we know for a fact that she'll be a part of WWE, and arguably the biggest signing since Cody Rhodes inked a deal to join the company last year. So what's next for the former AEW TBS champion? Well, right now, the only people who know for sure are the top names at WWE and Cargill herself. While speaking to Mark Raimondi of ESPN, Cargill was asked about her future with WWE and if it has been decided which brand she'll be on, and remained coy with her answer, saying, "It has, and guess what? Everybody's gonna have to tune in to every network and see where I'm going. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to stir the pot and get people guessing where I'm gonna be. Just tune in." Having Cargill on Raw, SmackDown, or NXT will be a huge coup for any of WWE's three brands, though some in WWE are under the impression that Jade will skip the gold brand entirely. Cargill has been given the star treatment so far by WWE, which may end up attracting even more names from AEW, and we'll have to keep tuning in to see which brand she ends up on. While Cargill is signed with WWE, it has been rumored for some time that Edge will be leaving the company, with his current contract set to expire in early next month. It has been believed for some time that Edge may sign with AEW, and BWE reports this week that Edge is said to be closer than ever to signing with Tony Khan. Edge may not be the only former World Heavyweight Champion to come to AEW in the near future, as on Busted Open Radio, Mark Henry mentioned Dolph Ziggler's name as one of the top names on AEW's list. While Ziggler would be quite the get for AEW, signing Edge would be a monumental win for Tony Khan, especially following the release of CM Punk, as Edge could fill his spot nicely without the controversy. Edge and AEW would allow the Rated R superstar to reunite with Christian Cage, despite Cage recently saying he has no friends in this business other than Luchasaurus, so perhaps a feud is more likely. BWE added that it's doubtful that WWE will come back with another big money move for the Hall of Famer, so don't be surprised if Adam Copeland is All Elite soon enough. Unless you've been living under a rock, you'll no doubt be aware of WWE's latest batch of releases, which took place not long after the finalization of the WWE-UFC merger and launch of TKO. Both WWE superstars and those working in their offices lost their jobs as part of these latest cuts, and during the WrestleDream media call, Tony Khan threw some shade at the competition. On the call, Khan was asked about Fox potentially bidding on AEW's TV rights, given that Fox will lose SmackDown next year, and Khan responded with emphasizing his partnership with WBD. Khan stressed the importance of loyalty within this business, though acknowledged Fox as a strong platform for sports and wrestling, before reiterating his desire to maintain with WBD indefinitely. Tony Khan even indicated a willingness to accept a slightly lower offer to remain with WBD, appreciating all they have contributed to AEW. That was when Khan took aim at WWE, though he didn't mention them by name, instead saying that even if he gets punched in the face, he's not going to take it on the staff by cutting 100 people and then cut wrestlers. Khan was also asked about Wardlow during the media call, with some speculating that he could be on his way out of AEW, especially with him not being used a ton as of late. The AEW president assured those on the call that Wardlow will be back on TV when the time is right, and also praised the War Dog as one of the greatest TNT champions AEW has ever seen. Wardlow's hottest period was in mid-2022, but the 35-year-old has cooled off considerably since then thanks to start-stop booking and the chaotic title changes that have defined the TNT championship scene. It remains to be seen who Tony Khan will book to face Mr. Mayhem when he returns to AEW television, but with WWE reportedly having their eyes on Wardlow, Khan would be wise to do something to keep him around. As for Khan's quip about not firing a ton of people, that was an obvious nod to WWE's recent firing spree, though with AEW still a relatively young company, it'll be interesting to see if Khan can keep this promise in the many years to come. More from AEW now, and it's been nearly a year since Serena Deeb appeared on AEW TV, and there's a lot going on backstage which has influenced her booking as of late. Fightful Select reports that Deeb has told people she's been dealing with a serious injury and is working to get cleared, but sources in AEW have said a serious disagreement with management last year led to her being off TV. At the time, Deeb was very vocal about her use, or lack thereof, on AEW TV, and was particularly frustrated about the time that she was given when she did appear. Those close to the situation claimed that her comments became disrespectful, as she'd accused Tony Khan and AEW management of cutting the time for her matches without telling her until they got to the ring. AEW's claim is that they actually got a list of times and showed Deeb that her name wasn't cut based on what was originally budgeted, and it's typical for producer coaches to not relay times until they're finalized. That is to try and prevent wrestlers from being upset when inevitable cuts actually happen, and Fightful reported that those close to Deeb haven't heard this directly from her, but her situation has been shared among the roster. Others in the company have heard that this situation has led to her having heat with management, which will hardly help her chances of getting back on TV in a regular role anytime soon. Deeb hasn't wrestled on any AEW programming since an October 2022 episode of Dark Elevation, where she defeated Hayley Jade, and her most recent singles TV match was back in September of last year. As to whether Deeb will be used on TV again, that's for management to decide, but with this report, don't expect the former NWA WWE star on Dynamite, Rampage, or Collision in the near future. In 1999, Stephanie McMahon and Triple H became an on-screen item, and this on-screen angle would blossom into a real-life romance between the two. Initially, the couple had to keep the relationship a secret as Vince McMahon had reservations about his daughter dating a wrestler, and though he gave his permission for a month, he later took it away. Nevertheless, the feelings for each other only grew stronger, resulting in the pair being allowed to date and marrying for real in 2003, but this week, some reported that their relationship is in trouble. Some even claimed that the couple had gone through a divorce, and these rumors only gained traction after Shawn Michaels, the game's best friend, liked a tweet that criticized Stephanie. We can now clarify, though, that there is no actual evidence that their marriage is in any trouble at all, and as Nick Hausman reported, this liked tweet was simply a slip-up by the person who runs Shawn's account. This is hardly the first time that unsubstantiated rumors about the pair have come out, as it was in the early 2000s that it was rumored that they had split up, but those claims were unfounded. In recent years, fans have pointed out instances where Triple H hasn't worn his wedding ring as evidence of a split, and those rumors gained traction when WWE released a video of Stephanie and Hunter providing a tour of WrestleMania Access in 2018. Fans noticed that Triple H had his hand in his pocket, with some claiming it was to hide his lack of a wedding ring, while others said that he seemed distant from his wife in the video. Again, nothing came of these rumors, and the game and Stephanie McMahon have remained together since then, and once again, there is no hard proof that the pair are even close to separating at this time. One accidental tweet like from someone who works under Triple H's friend should not be taken as a sign of imminent divorce, as these rumors are just rumors and should be treated as such. Over to NXT now, as this weekend will be the brand's No Mercy event, and Dominik Mysterio will defend his North American Championship on the show. Originally, Mysterio was going to defend against Mustafa Ali, who has since been released from WWE, and on this week's NXT, a fatal four-way match decided his next challenger. The four competitors were Dragon Lee, Trick Williams, Axiom, and Tyler Bate, and it was Williams who came out on top after being added as the fourth entrant not long before the match took place. This win was actually Trick's second of the night, as he defeated Joe Gacy earlier in the show, and Trick was certainly the center of the story of the Fatal 4-Way, as he is desperate to win his first title. The booking of the match couldn't help but ensure fans rallied behind Williams, as when Trick revealed to Axiom and Bate that he'd been added to the match before it begun, they were not happy. Both men attacked Trick at the bell, and while Axiom and Bate deserved title shots of their own, it was Williams who had the easiest story to tell. Since Dragon Lee was unable to finish off Mysterio during this week's Raw, the crowd will completely buy into Trick beating Dirty Dom, whether it happens or not. Not only will Dirty Dom have to defend his title against Williams, but after Dragon Lee attacked Mysterio backstage, it was announced that he'll be the special guest referee for the title match at No Mercy. Lee and Dirty Dom don't get along, so there's a chance that the former will cost the latter the title at the upcoming event in what could be the biggest night in the career of Trick Williams. This week also saw the finals of the Global Heritage Invitational, with England's Butch taking on Scotland's Joe Coffey, who had Gallus with him. Coffey threw everything he had at the brawling brute, who refused to give in, and as Coffey fumed outside the ring, Butch sent him into the steel steps before hitting the bitter end to get the win. The match delivered as expected, even if it did not live up to Butch's previous performances with Axiom and Tyler Bate, which we'd argue comes down to a somewhat inconsistent story. The match felt too much like a showcase of ability rather than a heated match with a shot at the NXT Heritage Cup on the line, but it still ranks among the best matches Coffey has had in NXT. Coffey was shown to be a focal point of the action and looked like the NXT UK destroyer he used to be, but it was the Bruiserweight who needed this win more. It's likely that Butch's NXT run will end at No Mercy, so the brand needed to use him to the fullest, and he'll likely give Noam Dar a career highlight match this Sunday in California. More from NXT now, as during the latest episode, a vignette was aired showing somebody watching old clips on TV. The face of the man was not shown, but that hasn't stopped fans from deducing that this person is none other than ex-AEW star Brian Pillman Jr., who signed with WWE last month. The three clips all related to Pillman's legendary father, with the first being a news show that covers Southern California and Los Angeles, a nod to Pillman Sr.'s time as part of the Hollywood Blondes. The next clip showed a glimpse of the Cincinnati Bengals, the NFL team Pillman Sr. once played for, and there was also a clip of WCW representing the Loose Cannon's time with the promotion. It was earlier this year that Pillman's contract with AEW expired, and he spent much of his time with the company as part of the Varsity Blondes alongside Griff Garrison. The second-generation star could soon be debuting on NXT programming, possibly as soon as this weekend's No Mercy event, in what would be quite the first night for Brian Pillman Jr. in WWE. In the 11 years since his return to WWE, Brock Lesnar has been one of the company's biggest attractions and was last seen facing Cody Rhodes at this year's SummerSlam. The post-match show of respect between the two made it clear that their feud is over, leaving the WWE Universe wondering when Lesnar will return and who he'll be facing next. Zero News reports that the plan is for Lesnar to return to WWE in January, presumably for an appearance at the 2024 Royal Rumble event, but he could be back sooner than that. The report added that WWE had wanted Brock for Crown Jewel, but that has not been confirmed to be on the cards yet, so while he may appear in Riyadh, it can't be said for certain. As for who Lesnar will be facing next, it's been reported that the Beast will be resuming his feud with Bobby Lashley, as the Almighty returned to WWE with facing Lesnar in mind. Earlier this year, Brock Lesnar returned to Monday Night Raw and immediately went after Bobby Lashley, with the two men holding one win each, albeit both controversial, over the other. When a rubber match was booked for Elimination Chamber 2023 in Montreal, this also ended in controversy, with Lesnar getting himself disqualified, and now another match is in the works. But what do you think of the idea of another match between the two, hopefully with a clean finish? Are you excited, or would you rather see another match for Lesnar? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. More about Jade Cargill, as with her impressive physique and white hair, it's hard to miss WWE's newest superstar, and it's the world of Marvel Comics that helped inspire Jade's hair color. During an episode of the AEW Unrestricted podcast, Cargill said that Marvel's Storm, a powerful black woman with silver white hair, inspired Cargill's look, as it goes to show that inspiration can come from anywhere, even a comic book. Now AEW also has a working relationship with NJPW, as the two promotions hold the annual event Forbidden Door. During the latest AEW Collision, Tony Khan did the voiceover for an AEW Wrestle Dream video package, where he stated that a chapter in wrestling history would end at the pay-per-view, and a new era in AEW history would begin. This led many fans to believe that Tony Khan was going to purchase NJPW. While speaking during the AEW Wrestle Dream media call, Tony Khan addressed the rumors that he was going to purchase the company. Khan made it clear that there is no truth to such speculation and rumors. I'm a little surprised at how speculation picked up and specifically the transactional nature of it. We have such a great partnership right now and we're doing such great things with New Japan Pro Wrestling. I'm a little surprised by all this speculation. I don't know where it came from. It's probably a good time to have a lot of speculation on the eve of Wrestle Dream, and I'm glad we got a lot of people talking, certainly that one video, with all the great clips of Mr. Inoki and top stars of today. I thought it got people talking and it was a positive thing. It remains to be seen whether the AEW Wrestle Dream pay-per-view will end up becoming a resounding success for the company. Earlier this month, Mace was cut from WWE, and since then, the former model and Retribution member has spoken at length about the fun times he had with the company. Back in April 2021, Mace and Dijak, who was T-Bar at the time, were set for a tag team match on an episode of Raw and were given some pretty strong instructions by management backstage. During a recent Twitch stream alongside Mansoor, Mace recalled preparing for the match against Drew McIntyre and Braun Strowman and being encouraged to lay in some real shots. He said, "Me and Dijak versus Drew and Braun. They go out, and management said, listen, you guys are some big... You go out there and you just beat each other's ass for real." I was like, okay. So we went out there, everything was safe, but it was all heavy. I was beat up by the end of it, and we got to the back and Vince looked at us like he wanted to hug us. He's like, "Man, you guys looked like you had fun out there. Wish I could have been out there with you." Sure enough, Mace, Dijak, McIntyre, and Strowman put on a hard-hitting affair that impressed everyone backstage, and they were able to do so without anyone getting injured. Right now, Mace is waiting for his 90-day non-compete clause to expire, which will run out on December 20th, and whoever faces Mace next might need to prepare to take quite the beating. It's been many a year since Roman Reigns last competed in NXT, but during this week's show, Bron Breakker took aim at the head of the table. Arriving to NXT in an all-black outfit with red shoes, Breakker was dressed similar to Reigns, and during a brawl with No Mercy opponent Baron Corbin that went all the way to Shawn Michaels' office, Breakker used a spear to flatten his opponent. It was only last month that Breakker first teased a feud with Reigns, showing up to Heatwave with a tank top reading "Best Spear in the Business." With the high expectations many have for Braun, a match with Reigns in the future seems very likely, and the former NXT champion is happy to already begin teasing a showdown. Breakker's brawl with Corbin happened after Corbin defeated Josh Briggs, and NXT would also see the newly named group of OTM defeat Hank Waller and Tank Ledger. In a vicious strap match, Eddie Thorpe bested Dijak, while Thea Hale, who continues to be manipulated by JC Jane, defeated Danny Palmer. NXT has had a string of big shows recently, so it was inevitable that a down week was coming, and it was disappointing that this go-home show did little to push No Mercy over the top. Butch vs. Gacy was good but not great, with the highlight of the Global Heritage Invitation coming last week, and Dijak and Thorpe, for all their physicality, did not deliver on the strap match hype. Becky Lynch and Tiffany Stratton didn't appear live, while Dominik Mysterio only had a pre-taped interview, while Carmelo Hayes and Ilya Dragunov ended with a standard contract signing at the end of a limited rematch build. Most of the show was little more than squash matches that did little to elevate the victors, and if not for the Fatal 4-Way, the entire show would have delivered nothing worth revisiting. The only feud that NXT really committed to build in the last week was Baron Corbin vs. Bron Breakker, and the backstage brawl could not make up for a lack of heat over the past month. Nevertheless, NXT No Mercy will surely be an excellent show, but that does not take away from this week's sense of disappointment. When an Australian news publication teased that The Rock would be appearing at next year's Elimination Chamber event, fans quickly went into a frenzy about the Great One going down under. The publication, The West, said that there is a great possibility of The Rock wrestling inside the Optus Stadium in February, but that isn't the way those in WWE see things. Sources in Creative who spoke to Ringside News said they have not heard anything about The Rock wrestling in Australia, but did not squash the idea of his return, and ultimately, it'll be The Rock's call as to what future he has, if any, in the squared circle. And we're ending with Adam Cole, who during Dynamite Grand Slam suffered an injury, despite not being in a match, as he hurt his ankle on the entrance ramp when he came out to support his friend MJF. Later in the night, Cole was spotted coming out of a nearby hospital on crutches, throwing a wrench into plans for Wrestle Dream, where MJF and Cole are set to defend their ROH Tag Team titles against the Righteous. AEW has been relatively silent on Cole's injury, but during a media conference to hype Wrestle Dream, Tony Khan touched on Cole's current situation. The AEW president suggested that the injury was not as bad as some have made it out to be, saying that Cole is a little ginger on his leg, and the situation will be addressed on tonight's Dynamite. Adam Cole was a big get for AEW as he left WWE NXT for Tony Khan's company, but his elite run has been hit with multiple injuries, including a concussion that forced him to miss nearly a year of ring time. MJF and Cole have proven to be a hit with fans, which is why news of an injury is particularly bad at this time, and we will hopefully have a clearer image of his condition following tonight's Dynamite.